So this is the video I've been wanting to do for a while, and I just haven't had the time. And I finally do have the time to sit down and talk about something. It's a little more serious of a topic, and if you haven't already read the description, it's not as serious. I just became an angel investor. Sup, y'all? I'm B-Dougie, and this is my channel, and I normally focus on developer automation, sort of advancing your career as a developer just in general, and I've been really trying to step into building new projects, and this topic is actually right within that sort of realm because one of the tools I'm really excited about is one of the tools I've actually jumped in as a angel investor. So a couple weeks ago, actually a couple months ago, I was approached by a friend who mentioned, hey, there's an opportunity to become an angel investor. I had never even put the thought into thinking about like, what would that look like? Why would I do it? I've always been involved in talking to a lot of new projects and having conversations with them. I do a podcast called Jamstack Radio, and it's an opportunity to talk about this thing called the Jamstack. The Jamstack is a sort of archetyped. It's a way to think about how do you sort of architect projects. And folks, if you don't know about the Jamstack, there's tons of videos out there. Actually, I should do a video on the Jamstack soon. But what I'm getting at is I talk a lot of projects who are sort of entering this ecosystem with the term Jamstack in mind, and I talked to them earlier on. And I don't ever take like an intentional advisor role, but I do talk to a lot of these founders and engineers who are building these projects and give them advice. And I never once thought, hey, I should invest in these companies. Like a lot of these companies have, actually a couple of projects who were on my podcast came on and said, hey, because we were on your podcast, we were able to raise, our first seed round, which is awesome. I'm super happy for them, and I'm happy to be able to provide that opportunity. But it's usually I have provided that opportunity. We stay in touch. I ended up using their projects and their products in my own projects as they sort of evolve and mature, but never thought to say, hey, I should invest. Like usually the one way I've invested in, I think everybody should really consider this. When you work at an early stage company, a lot of times startups, you can get opportunity to get stock in the company. It's something that I became very well aware of once I started engineering. Every company I've worked for has given me stock in the company as part of my sort of employment package. It's something that perhaps I should also do another video about that and more in depth. But what I want to get at is that angel investing is something that I always thought never obtainable or achievable for a person like myself. I don't come from lots of money. I would have never, if you asked me 7 years ago, if you had in your bank account, which I still don't have my savings account, I would have been like, nah, I don't think I could ever do that. It's like a lot of money. But I've had the opportunity to be able to do this recently. Thanks to a level of privilege that I have access to. Like I do work for a company people have heard of, so that's been really awesome. I'm happy to do that, and I'm also had opportunity to, like through guest blog posts and doing videos and stuff like that. What I'm getting at is I've been able to save extra money, and I thought, there was a company that I was really excited about. I had an opportunity to have a conversation with them back in October, and that company is my friend actually introduced me to them, not knowing that I already had a connection through that event I did in October, which is the Open Source Contributor Summit. And this company is called Supabase. And Supabase is a company that they're looking to build an open source alternative to Firebase. Firebase being a project that I used a ton when I was doing iOS development. It was sort of the easiest way for me to get a project up and running really quickly. And I'm super excited to be part of their small amount of angels that sort of help get together their seed round, and happy to see this project grow. I've done a whole video on how to sort of grow yourself as a developer. I did a podcast on it too, on This Developing Story. And this is my first opportunity to sort of be in the ground. This is my first opportunity to be on the ground level of a project, but without being an engineer on the project. And it's an interesting approach because, it'd be nice for me to go work for them full time and help develop their product and their software, but I'm super comfortable at the job I have right now, and I'm not really interested in looking for new work opportunities. So with that being said, I now have an opportunity to have connections to a product and a project and sort of watch them grow on the sidelines while also supporting my projects with the same technology. So I wanted to create this video because I'm probably going to do a couple new Supabase tutorials, probably do some blog posts as well. And I just want to be upfront that I do have, I guess, stake or stock in the company. It is a very small amount. It's not going to make me a bazillionaire or anything like that. But having that sort of investment helps me stay in tune with what they're shipping. It helps me to connect with them and ask questions. I'm able to ask questions about how to sort of approach databases in the way that I never even knew I could. As you know, and a couple videos ago when I talked about my goals for 2021, databases is one of my goals. Just actually learning how they work, how to integrate them into my projects, and not being scared of them to the point where like I don't touch databases because I know security and scalability are things that I just don't have a strong, I'm not acclimated to the point where I'm comfortable in security and scaling. But now I can sort of ask those questions to this company. And as I leverage my projects, I do have access to them via email and stuff like that to the founders. And I look forward to future investments. I don't have a ton of money in savings, but I'm happy to take interviews and conversations. I do have another podcast what they call Jamstack Radio. Just shout out if anybody wants to be a guest on that podcast. I'm easy to be found on Twitter, BWEO, and I'm happy to sort of make introductions. Maybe I'm not going to invest, but I do know other people who do this on a regular basis. So if you have interest in getting your seed round together, I'm happy to facilitate introductions as well. But I'm actually excited about what this looks like. I never thought I would have been in this place where I could actually throw some money at a project and watch them grow. But here I am. It's been a long road. I think I've had a lot of serendipity. I did a whole video on how I never applied to any jobs. I've sort of had jobs approach me as I was ready to take on new employment too as well. And I think that's still a consistent theme of my career too as well, where I get a lot of introductions to a lot of projects through the things I do. And I think if you take anything away from this, I would just say putting yourself in the right position just by being there, being a part of communities is probably the best thing you can do, especially as an engineer. I know a lot of folks don't have the ability to be in San Francisco like I can be, but there's a lot of opportunities through different Discords and Twitter followings, and just the fact that everybody's sort of pretty accessible. A lot of people will answer your questions. So I will say, if you have the time, definitely check out my interview with the Supabase CEO, Paul Copplestone, and we sort of just talked through just the project, how it got started. It got started in 2020, and I'm super impressed with their introduction, how they sort of built it while being in Singapore, being stranded because of the COVID virus. And I'm really looking forward to hearing more of their stories and how they sort of push along their roadmap as well. So congratulations to them for coming out of the beta. Congratulations to them to coming out of the alpha. They just recently entered a beta phase of their project. They're still trying to figure out pricing and trying to figure out feature set. So they seem to be pretty available. So if you're interested in databases and to specifically ones that operate with Postgres and sort of add extensions, I do recommend at least giving them a try and checking them out. If not, at the very least, hit like and subscribe on this channel. I'll continue my sort of pathway into learning how databases work and how I can sort of scale and improve my existence in the ecosystem, but also ship a couple projects using it. So with that being said,